And we can now join our daring heroes as they are in the Oread city of Tassus, the home of the great archive, where they have plumbed the depths of history as they have read the steel tablets preserved by those stony guardians for 1,000 years. They have learned of the last planar incursion wherein the fetchlings entered our world and attempted to emigrate to such. We've learned the location of the gateway into their world, but apparently that gateway was on a sky city, the location of which is now unknown to our heroes. So what are you guys doing in Tassus as we join you?
Well, what are we doing? How are we doing on supplies?
I think you have pretty solid supplies, and the Oreads will be very happy to resupply you as well for virtually no fee at all.
Okay. So I'm just kind of like watching over my my crewmen as they bring various barrels and crates on board.
And what exactly does Nava Westgale look like, just for any new viewers?
She has light blue skin, and her hair is constantly sort of she has white hair, kind of cut short, but it's always kind of like billowing and spinning about her face, even when there's no wind blowing. She's wearing just kind of like a standard blue and white captain's vest, and she has her arquebus slung over one shoulder.
Excellent. And what about what are our other characters doing? Nava's watching the supplies come and go onto the White Vestige, her sky ship, which she has daringly piloted here to the Canyon lands. So what about Miri Stormsoul? What is she doing in Tassus, the city of the Oreads, of the Rock people?
Well, every once in a while she'll be like, "You guys need more water. It's too dry here." and then every once in a while, we'll create a pool of water and be like, "Here you go. Here's a little bit of water. Thought I could help."
All right, so I can almost see Miri wandering through the Agora, the great marketplace of the Oreads, and maybe everyone's staring at her because you're like 4 feet tall. Blue skin, setted leather bikini. You've got this flaming albatross that follows you around as your pet. So everyone is staring at you. The adults are too polite to really bother you. But I can imagine all these little stone-skinned children with the crystal hair running around, and you're like the same size as them. You know, they have big kids here, and so they're like asking you questions about who you are, and where you're from, and why your skin is so soft, and why your bird is on fire, and you know, is that a baby phoenix? You know, and all kinds of questions from the kids. How would Miri react to all these kids following her around and pestering her?
Honestly, she actually wouldn't mind. She's, despite her being so into her shamanic arts and all that, she's always wanted to, I guess you could say, have her own child. So I guess you could say. And so having all these little kids around pestering her, asking her the same questions over and over, she's like, "Hey, this is fun. Where the heck is my kid at?" And
All
as
right.
for the questions about the albatross, he ate something he shouldn't have.
There you go. Some spicy peppers for that bird.
Yes. The legendary spicy phoenix pepper.
And what about Saladin Amari, the greatest gunsmith in the world, the Ifrit with the I believe it's dusky skin.
Yeah.
Got some yellow spiky hair going on. Where do we find Saladin?
He is. Well, he's probably gonna resupply, and then he's gonna do some work on his weapon, because otherwise, if he doesn't maintain it, it'll fall apart. Being experimental and all.
Very true. Now Saladin has that magic crystal ball that he can use to scry other places, other realms, perhaps.
Oh yeah, he was gonna. I think we were going. I think I was at least going to try to scry into this other plane of existence, the shadow realm that the fetchlings have come from, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Let me grab my dice then for doing that. That's important.
Yeah, so set that scene. Where does Saladin go to consult the crystal ball? What kind of meditations might he use to prepare himself for the psychic strain?
Incense and alcohol, baby. Nothing better.
So I'm imagining he's like closed the curtains of his room, and he's got the incense going on. He's just sitting there drinking like some fire whiskey and staring at the crystal ball. The ball is just sitting there on the table. The firelight, the candlelight reflected in its depths, and Saladin's just glaring and shakes his head, and he takes another swig of the whiskey. And he's trying to get himself psyched up to gaze into infinity.
And beyond. Hey David, I'm on Facebook Messenger. I'm going to send you a picture of what Miri looks like.
Okay.
And just so if you want to save it and do like a screen share or whatever.
Sure. So now I've got my scrying table here, Thane.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. So basically, you have secondhand knowledge of this. I'm presuming that you're trying to scry out the Sky City. That's correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Just don't want to make any presumptions. But yes, we're looking for the lost Sky City of Gianni. Here it is. Okay. Trying to make sure my notes are organized. But the lost city of Gianni. So you have secondhand knowledge of it. So that's a +5 on the test. Let's see. We could say that maybe you have a likeness or picture of it as well. Maybe there's just a very detailed description in the Oriad archive. The Oriads do like to be a little pedantic in things. They go into too much detail. They're very logical. They don't paint a great picture, but they will batter a picture into your mind by just describing something in far too much detail.
Would we have found something like that in the archives while we were there? Because I know
so let's say
tablet, that described the battle and what originally had happened between the fetchlings and at least the Oriads. But they did describe the city in the archives. Or at the very least, it probably described the gate in great detail for us to look for.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to see what the target DC is. Actually, I'll have to pull up the crystal ball itself for that, unless you have a stat block handy.
I sadly do not.
Okay.
It
looks
like
we'll
the
pull city.
It up, though, for future use.
So yeah, the way the mechanic works, the city makes a will save against you, and you're getting a bonus because you know what the city looks like. There's a slight penalty because you don't have very, very detailed information. You've never actually been to the city. So I'm just trying to see what that DC is, because it'll actually be on the crystal ball itself. Okay. So it looks like a DC 16 is what we're trying to roll against here.
That's not too horrible.
Yeah. Just trying to see if there's any degrees of failure, if you still get anything on a fail or not.
Nothing good, I assume.
Yeah, I don't think you get anything very useful on a fail. Okay, I'm gonna make a test here. So it's somewhat elusive, unfortunately. So Saladin maybe moves towards the crystal ball. He gazes into its depths. He focuses his mind, everything he's heard of about Gianni, about the legend, about what it's supposed to look like, trying to discern, its destiny, where it is at the moment. If you can get a picture of the city to come up in the depths of this crystal. But unfortunately, it's elusive. You're able to get snatches. The ball fills with light, and it quivers and wavers. It seems to take vague forms, but you're not able to get anything that's super useful at this moment, unfortunately.
Could I try again for specifically the gate room? Or is that I guess that's part of the city, but I mean can I try to kind of specialize I completely forgot what word I was thinking of.
Yeah, just to try to see the gate itself rather than the whole city.
Yeah. Because I imagine that's just because that's that's an addition to the city and not original construction, I guess. Maybe.
Yeah, you can't try again for 24 hours according to the spell description.
Okay, so I'll wait 24 hours and I'll try again, and then I guess after with that failure, I will go back to maintaining my weapon. I believe I have to do that for an hour, otherwise the misfire count will go up. So I'm gonna do that.
Sounds good. Now, describe what that looks like? Is this like you've taken it apart, you're putting it back together, or what does it look like?
Yeah, he's probably got it out on the desk or on his workbench. Let me just double check which one I have. I believe I have the. Where did it go? Yes, I have a recoilless pepper box rifle. So there's an extra additional kind of pistons and gears on it to help reduce the recoil, so that I can fire it at longer ranges. He's taken that apart. He's oiled all the gears, maybe shimmed them a little bit to be more in line with what he needs. Just like that. Clean out the barrel from gunpowder. There's some other stuff you gotta do with gun maintenance, but I completely forgot. Just stuff like that.
All right, sounds good. Sorry, I'm just trying to save that picture that Lily is. But maybe we'll cut back West Gale. So you're sky sailors and sylphs who are loading up your supplies, making sure you have fresh water, provisions, especially if you can get any green vegetables, which Oriads don't really like to eat. So you're trying to get as much greenery on as possible. Perhaps one of your mates, perhaps your first mate, will approach you, and he's going on down in the hold, in the brig, that fetchling prisoner is demanding to see you.
Do you speak of the captain or the other guy?
And it is the commodore of the fetch to see you. You can tell he stumbles over the word captain because there can only be one captain on a ship. And if you're not the captain of the ship, you get promoted to commodore.
So I nod and I head on down. And what was this guy's name again? I completely spaced it.
Zangief.
Zangief.
Captain. As you left him, now had you chained the man up?
I would say that his hands are free, but he's still manacled to the wall by his ankles.
All right, so I'm just trying to close my other browser here because it's slowing everything down to a ridiculous degree. But yes, you find Zangief. Of course, he's disarmed. You've taken his hood. You've taken his cloak. His ankles are bound. But you find him there, and he's in some state of agitation. And again, as you see him, it's striking to you. He has black skin. He has black eyes. There's just something alien and strange about the way he moves, the composition of his anatomy, although he is humanoid, but there's just something wrong about him to you. But
if I remember... Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
If I remember correctly, I spent some time learning his language, so I don't need the milk.
That's true.
For this.
Yes, the milk of the waters, the voice of the waters, as Galilahi says. But yes, he's somewhat agitated. Now, was it him or it was his lieutenant that you took to visit the king?
The lieutenant.
Yeah. So he's basically been locked in the hold here. You've been talking to him a bit, but you can tell he's chafing at the confinement. He's been in this one room, and now he knows that the ship is at a port of some kind, and he's still locked inside. But he looks at you and he asks, "What is to be done with me? Why am I still in chains? You have taken Carolyn out and back, and still there is no change to us. What goes on? I demand to know."
You're a useful piece of information. A source of information, rather. We intend to keep you until our quest is complete.
But must you keep me in chains? I have come to your way of thinking that this place, it is not good. I wish to go, yes, but knowing that my lords, the sorcerers, that they would wish to come, does it not make sense that we could be allies?
I let you out. I'm putting all my crewmen in danger.
Is it not, as you say, that I have knowledge that they do not? Perhaps they would be in greater danger without me. I could help.
I kind of eye him closely, and I'd like to make a sense motive.
Roll it.
Let's see, I'm trying to remember what my wisdom modifier is. Oh my god. 4.
All right, you believe he sincerely wants to help you and betray his own people.
I will admit that you have been useful and cooperative to this point. She kind of She hesitates a bit, but then nods. I'll have the guards release you. You are to serve by my side as we search for the Sky City.
This is good. I thank you for my freedom. You will not regret trusting me.
Your comrade, however, will remain in chains to ensure your cooperation.
He almost smiles at this, but he like tries to cover it up. You get the feeling he doesn't think very highly of Carolyn, but but and thus he doesn't care if Carolyn's free or not. But he'd certainly rather you believe that he cared about Carolyn.
So after that conversation, I'll go. I'll talk to my first mate, and I'll ask him to make sure all weapons on the ship are accounted for, and that the armory has some additional security posted on it. And then I'll get the keys and go back down there and unlock him.
Let's plug in a name for your first mate there. How does Reno sound?
Reno?
Yeah, Rino.
Sounds good.
Perfect. Let me ask you, Mike, how long have you served with Reno? Is he like an old friend or a recent acquaintance or an agent of your grandfather sent to spy on you? Or what do you think about Reno?
I would say that he's a newcomer. I kind of imagine that some of my crewmates are old friends, but a lot of them are fairly new.
Is that a case of
society that it is? People are constantly jockeying for different positions and wanting to move on to better and greater things. So,
all right, sounds good. So maybe he's previously served as first mate on some kind of like sky whaling vessel. And he thought that was a little too dangerous, so he thought maybe a merchant post would be better, not realizing that we'd end up on an epic quest.
Exactly. That sounds perfect.
All right, so as you come back to Zangief, come into the brig, unlock his ankles, unshackle him, and he'll kind of stand, and he looks awkward, like he doesn't know how to show his gratitude and respect to you. He doesn't know if he should bow or shake your hand or give you a hug or what your local custom is. So he just looks kind of awkward. But he thanks you again verbally, and he asks you, you speak of a sky city that we seek. What is this place?
From what we know, it is where your people first attempted to enter our world. In fact, do you know where this place might be? We're still uncertain about the location, though we have a few clues.
You speak of the lost city of Kiani.
Indeed.
Every Kayal knows of this place as legend. It was our great fortress as we fought to try to gain ourselves a new home. If only my people had realized how poisonous this place truly is.
Do you have any clues as to where its location might still be?
In this world, no. I can. He looks like he's trying to think and remember and concentrate. This is all stuff that's well above his pay grade. He's like he's like a lieutenant, whereas this would be stuff like that the generals might know, but it's like top secret information.
I just kind of nod.
The sorcerers have spoken that they found a way to come back into this world. And they said that the incubata between the realms was no problem any longer. But I do not know much beyond that.
How did you enter our world?
But the sorcerers, they sent us through.
Hmm.
They drew the magic circle on the ground. They spoke the ritual, and we found ourselves here.
I see.
The way you speak, you are not familiar with the legend of Gianni.
No, its history is lost to most people.
Then how have you come to hear of it?
From the archives, we had the Oreads. They keep the greatest archives of all the people in our land.
Well, I will lend my intelligence to your search, but I am sorry that my knowledge is lacking.
It's quite all right. Feel free to. In fact, actually, I'll give you a quick tour.
All right. So as Nava is showing Zangief, I'll put his name in the chat there. Zangief around. Maybe Saladin or Miri or both. Maybe you're like on deck, and Nava comes up on deck with Zangief with this fetchling, this black obsidian-skinned creature. What's your reaction to seeing that Nava has released him?
Actually, I'm not sure I'd be on deck. Like I said, I'm still working on the on my weapon. Unless this took like an hour.
We walk into his workshop, and this is where our weapon crafter is.
Well, maybe Miri is there though, or maybe what happens when you first see, regardless of when that is. What happens when you first see Zangief? You know, where is that? What's your reaction? Are you mad at Nava for letting this enemy free, or do you think she's being gullible, or do you think this is a good idea that Zangief can help?
I'm a little hesitant. Saladin kind of looks up from his workbench and raises an eyebrow. I mean, she is the captain, but they're all a part of this quest, and he probably feels a little maybe not left out per se, but he's not happy that this was made, without the discussion amongst the party. So he frowns a little bit at that, because they don't know, we don't really know anything about this guy, like all we know is that he's definitely an enemy. Maybe with some of our sympathy, but I'm not sure we should be trusting him free and clear, especially since we've straight up lied to him about the world. That's probably how Saladin feels about that.
Does Saladin say anything, or he just kind of looks up and shakes his head and goes back to polishing his gun?
On account of wanting to make sure that we have a united front, at least in front of our new compatriot, he probably won't say anything. He'll just frown and give her like a raised eyebrow, like, really?
Or what about Miri?
Well, first she'd be a little surprised, but in her mind, Nava has her reasons, and those reasons are hers. She trusts her.
All right. Is it so? Is it public knowledge, Thane, that Saladin has this crystal ball, or is it kind of your secret, your ace in the hole?
Right now, it is indeed a secret.
Okay.
I didn't know going in. I mean, I knew Nava a little bit, but she was the only person that I was personally familiar with in the party.
Mm-hmm.
I might tell her eventually if we get a chance to just not do anything. I might inform her, but other than that, I think it's gonna remain a secret.
All right, sounds good. Um, so, how do you guys then go about your investigation, or do you just want to cut back to Saladin the next day attempting the scrying for a second time?
I think if we've gotten all our supplies, we can head out, and he can scry en route. I'd say we'd probably head back to the Slife capital if we haven't found out the city's location by the time we reach there. We can perhaps get some knowledge from my grandfather.
Sounds reasonable. What do you guys think, Thane, Lily?
Yeah, that sounds good for me.
Yeah, sounds like a good plan.
Or perhaps, since the Ifrits, they're master scryers, right? They have the greatest magic in all the land.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Quite proud of it.
Perhaps then we should head to the Ifrit capital, and we can meet with one of the. If we haven't described the location ourselves by then, we can perhaps enlist some of the mages there to scry for us.
Also sounds reasonable. So, do you guys meet to discuss this in character? Are your characters voicing their thoughts, or?
Yes, we're in I want to say a boardroom.
Maybe your captain's ready room.
Yeah, sure. And all the heroes are there, including my first mate, as well as Zengia, actually.
All right. Have you invited the king or the high priest of the city, or you've just left them out of the loop?
We've left them out of the loop.
Sounds a good idea. All right, so you're all there. Xandra is glaring over at Zangief. She is not happy that you let him loose at all, but she hasn't said anything because she really likes Nava and doesn't want to get in an argument with Nava. But it's very clear by her body language that she is ready to go and just strangle him to death if he steps out of line at all. Zangief can sense this. Obviously, she's just glaring a hole through him, so he's backed into a corner almost. So how do you convene the meeting? Who puts the options on the table?
Well, the way I see it, friends and crew, we can head back to Talisha and ask my grandfather for information, or we could head to the Ifrit capital, whose name is escaping me at this moment. I kind of look pointedly at Saladin, and perhaps enlist the aid of their master diviners there.
He looks to the sky and asks, "What's the Ifrit's capital?"
Let me see. Because we already had Zufar El Popal, the great Archmage, come in. Not sure we ever mentioned where he's from. At least I don't have it in my notes. But he would probably be the man to talk to. And let's say that the name of his city is going to be... There's too many Z names coming up here. How about Wasif? How does that sound?
Wazif?
Wasif.
Sounds good.
All right.
All right. Oh, that's me. Okay. Saladin stops to think for a second. He remembers that crazy was it obsidian mirror? I think that his patron had?
Yes, the obsidian mirror of Naziha El Sami.
Well, he's not gonna give that away, because but he agrees that the Ifrits are indeed my people are indeed master arcanists and mages, and plus we should perhaps see if any progress has been made on deciphering the black orbs that the fetchlings were carrying, which would be at the capital or Wasif, I imagine.
Well, I think you guys hung on to one of the orbs as well, and then you gave one to Zufir Al Papal.
I didn't want to give everything away.
Yeah,
I have the orb that we kept is hidden in my bedroom.
So actually, hearing that you have one or at least one of the black orbs, Zangief will kind of perk up, and he says, "You have the orb of returning. It could be used to go back to the Shadowland."
Yes, unfortunately, we gave both of them to the Ifrits for study and analysis.
Perhaps if we get the orb back, usually they are one orb to one person, one use. But with your magic, perhaps you could expand the power. I know where the gate is in the Shadowland. I do not know where it is in this realm, but perhaps could come through from the other side.
I'm kind of eyeing him pretty intently at this point. Does he seem to be like legitimately trying to help, or is he just like trying to get a hold of the orb so he can escape?
Make sense motive tests, everyone.
Oh my god. 6. Fuck.
You think he is trying to help?
I am 12 plus. Sense motive, I believe, is wisdom or charisma?
That's wisdom.
Wisdom? Nice. I got a 15. Hopefully that's enough.
All right, yes. You think he does kind of want to help, but he also wants to get the hell out off of this plane. That's probably his main motivation. Although it's not really that bad of a plan.
Trying to convert the orbs to mass use. Yeah, that's why that's actually why Saladin had sent it back to decipher it, to track it, see what they can do with it. But so I know that he's kind of bullshitting right now.
Yeah, he's about 50-50 on the bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, even if it's just for a selfish reason of not wanting to be in this hellscape that our realm apparently is, but he's not being completely truthful. Whatever. Saladin once again just kind of raises an eyebrow at that, and he's perhaps that's a good idea, but I don't think we're gonna let you anywhere near it for now. Perhaps Nava trusts you, but I do not.
Oh, there's no need for that, Saladin. He could be our guide for the Shadow Realm. He knows it better than anyone.
This is true.
The problem is if he gets, and he erased with the air quotes, if he gets lost or he gets lost from us, we'll be screwed.
Yes, we'll just have to keep a close eye on him.
Sandra might speak up and say, "I do not wish to journey to the Shadow Realm." And Galilahi, you can see he really doesn't want to go to the Shadow Realm either, and he's like nodding and he's like pointing at her, and he's like, "Yes, listen to her. She is she's smart to not want to go into the realm of lightless cold."
Well, if we are unable to find the gate in our world, we might have to. Besides, we still have to rescue those who have been captured.
Your first mate, Reno, might chime in. He says, I believe that it is wise that we return to Talicia, that we could consult with Prince Isut, with your grandfather. He is most wise, and perhaps in our legends there will be some mention. A bard could help us.
Oh.
Personally, I'm feeling more inclined to head to the Ifrit capital. I think their mages could be of great use to us, and it would be good to make sure to check in the progress of the orbs.
Saladin nods. He agrees with that at least. A little tentative on the whole Shadowlands adventure, but if that's what it takes to rescue these people, he'll do it.
All right, Saladin, can you give me an intelligence test, please? Or if you have, probably you could add if you have spellcraft or knowledge arcana, or even knowledge of the planes if you have that too. Anything like
Nope.
that.
I am engineering and local only.
All right.
I am one of the few Ifrits that are not. It's not bad. It's pretty good. Am I smart? No. I got a 16 total.
All right. So it occurs to you that if Zangief knows about the gate on the other side, maybe he would be able to help describe, the setup on the other side, and that could help you with scrying. But you'd have to probably bring him into your confidence a little bit if you're asking such pointed details.
That sounds like a plan. I'll pull him aside after the meeting, I guess, or when I get a chance to. But yeah, other than that,
All right. So
what were we doing? Yeah, we're still just talking about where we're going to go.
yeah.
Right?
So Nava wants to go into the desert to visit the Ifrit. And I think
agrees. He wouldn't mind a trip home.
yes. So what about Miri? What's Miri's opinion on what should be done next, Lily?
Well, she would actually probably agree with going to the Ifrit capital. Yeah, she would. She'd definitely agree with going there and asking assistance from their diviners.
All right. And Galilahi will, of course, follow Miri's lead. He has a lot of respect for her as a Shaw woman.
Yippee.
Even Xandra, she doesn't want to be up in the air, and the Ifrit at least build their structures on solid ground. So to her, that's preferable than going back to Talicia.
Then it seems we are all in agreement.
Yes.
Saladin's pleased he gets to go home.
All right.
Renos, set course for Wasif immediately, and we shall be off.
All right. So the white vestige is shortly underway, coming out of the cradle and sailing majestically through the skies over top of the canyon lands of the Oreads. And as they're, going on, you're treated to these beautiful vistas of rock and shattered stone and ground gravel and all this hard, forbidding landscape that the Oreads love and make their home within. So you're underway now. Saladin, you said you wanted to pull Zangief aside and have a chat with him. Is that correct?
Yep.
All right. So he's a little suspicious, like you're gonna knife him and throw him overboard. Like when you're like, oh, let me talk to you alone, and he's like
I'm
a
like
little nervous.
I got my left hand like on my pistol, just kind of like slowly rubbing the thumb over the grip, like the back of the grip. But I'll go to him and I'll say, could you describe for me what the gate looks like on the other side?
Yes, friend Salahuddin. Yes, I can. I have seen it. There was great parade in ruin. We saw the seal, the gate, very large, very impressive, covered with runes that you could read. And he starts describing exactly what it looks like. So we'll give you at least a little bit of an extra bonus on your next scrying test.
Okay. Could
But
I give a quick sense motive just to make sure he's not bullshitting me? Because he's already 50-50, so I just want to make sure. That's good. 17.
yeah, no, he's like a little afraid of you, and he's just kind of rambling with fear, but he is being honest. He's just talking to distract himself from
The
the
fear.
fact that you have your hand on your gun.
um. I'll after he's done describing uh, the gate on the other side, I'll thank him, um, and I'll tell him if you play straight with me, I'll be straight with you. But if you're gonna try and stab us in the back, and I kind of just reach down again to like grip my pistol. You saw what we did to the rest of your friends. So you play straight with us, and you'll be all right.
Yes, friend Salahuddin, have no fear. I am straight man. Is no stabbing in the backside. It is not what I do. No, no. I'm glad that you're also straight man, and we will be straight men together. And he's like he's scared.
Um,
And there's
I
a
like my eyebrow is like in my hairline because he totally tried to ambush us the first time we met. So I'm gonna try one more. I'm gonna try one more sense motive test on that, and I got an 18. Good. I guess I'm. That's a good thing. I'm. Wait, no. This is wisdom. Wisdom. No, that's a 20 actually. I'm staring into his soul.
well, he's very afraid of you, so he's trying to placate you and get you to not kill him if possible. So he's not really thinking very hard about what he's saying. He's just so scared. Um, so I don't know if a whole lot of rapport has really been developed here. I would still be somewhat suspicious of the man. His main goal is still to get off this plane and get as far away from all of you aliens as possible.
I'll give him like I've got like I'll give him a half finished bottle of fire whiskey, just as like I said, you play straight with us, we'll be straight with you, and I'll give him the bottle as like a little gift.
Thank you, Salahuddin. This is very nice. And he doesn't know if he's supposed to drink it right now or not. So he unscrews it and like takes a sip in front of you, so that you can see that he's accepted your gift. He doesn't know if that's your custom or not. So, but he's just doing it to be safe. But you could tell he's not used to the strong fire whiskey, and he has one of those.
Yeah,
Not.
don't drink that all at once. But and then with that, he kind of just he salutes him like 2-finger salute, and then he turns around and walks off.
All right.
and then he'll go when 24 hours pass. He'll go and scry, try to scry one more time.
Sounds good. In the meantime, are there any scenes for Nava or Miri while we're still leaving the Canyonlands?
Well, actually, I was just doing a quick bit of research on animals and their elemental meanings, because you mentioned the rat skull.
Mm-hmm.
The rat, according to the Chinese zodiac, its elemental affinity, water.
Sure.
So, yeah, she'd be will be sitting like on a box or something, overlooking the water, and then all of a sudden the little rat skull starts to kind of glow with like a blue light, and then all of a sudden it looks like there's a bit of water surrounding it. She looks at it, is like, yes, sure, why not? We can be friends.
All right, so Miri is talking to the rat skull, just kind of dangling on the edge of the ship while we're passing over the broken Canyonlands. What about what about Nava? Is she up to anything in particular?
She spends a lot of the journey in her room, kind of meditating on the artifacts that she has around her, trying to feel the psychic pulse of her Inquisitor's sensor and her lantern, her Ifrit lantern, as well as her mother's goggles.
Sounds good. And then maybe we'll come back to you then, Saladin. I'll just roll that other test.
Something good.
Yeah, that's a big fail for the city, which is a big success for you. So this time, as you're sitting, you're gazing into the crystal ball, focusing on what the Oreads described and on what Zangief has now described, and you're able to get this picture forming in your mind. You know, it's bright. The crystal ball is filled with light, and you can see the Sky City. You can see the Sky City kind of in its prime, in its splendor, with all of the various peoples assembled there. It looks like a great battle had recently been fought. You know, this is the past. This is when the fetchlings were pushed back through the gate in this tremendous onslaught. You know, the great battle of the last age is what it was. So you can see that, you know, the Sky City just smoking and smoldering in ruin, corpses strewn everywhere, sky ships crashed into towers, and you can see then the people sealing the Great Gate. You can see them getting onto their sky ships and actually fleeing, actually like evacuating. There's this huge fleet, this storm of sky ships as they leave the city, as it's left a derelict. And then slowly you can see the city as it's left alone starts to drift. The wind blows it, and it starts to settle and fall, and eventually it comes to rest in the great desert. You see it just settle into the top of the sand dunes there, and you can see the sandstorm kind of blow up and perhaps bury the city. So you believe that it is buried somewhere in the great desert. You think that you can actually find it with the vision that you've seen. You saw it there under the sand, under the stars, and with the ability to read the stars, to navigate, to follow its aura. You think that you could find it in the real world.
Cool. I will. I guess I'll go to Nava first to discuss my vision. Actually, let me because I know I'm gonna forget later, but I guess I'll put it down that I know the location. Well, no, what the hell was I gonna do? I'll write it down, um, like in character that I the location to it, because I know I'm gonna forget that I know it for somehow. So just in case, and then
Okay.
I'll go to Nava, her room, and I'll knock on the door.
Now, don't forget, Thane, that you kept this crystal ball a secret so far.
Yeah.
So
Well, that
I'm
was at the I believe that was at the behest of my patron, I believe.
yeah, he wants everything to be secret from the other races if possible. He
Yeah.
doesn't want them to know anything more than they
Um.
need to.
Actually, I might take the time the next day to gather like the core group, Zandra, Galalahi, Nava, and I guess Miri too. Or actually, hmm. Yeah, I guess he would. Miri's basically part of the group now. You know. Um. Well, it's just because like the original group was, Zandra, Galalahi, Saladin, and Nava. You know, and like he knows that he hopes that at least he hopes that they wouldn't have been chosen, with ulterior motives to this, really, other than, saving the world. But I guess he'll include Mary. She's weird, but she's also a shaman, and
Yes.
she's proven herself. I believe.
Yes, with her absolutely batshit crazy ideas.
It did work, so I mean, that's always good. But yeah, so he'll do that tomorrow. He'll gather the core party to discuss his findings.
Sounds good. So unless anybody has any more scenes, we can just skip right to that. We've all been convened again in the captain's quarters in Nava's ready room, rather. So Saladin has called the meeting, and what does he say to everyone?
Um, I'm gonna look at each of them in turn, and I'm gonna say this must remain between the five of us. I think there is.
Yes.
Yeah, that's correct.
This must remain between the five of us. Uh, but I believe I've located the lost city.
How?
Um, this is the part that I was asked to.
Imagine everyone looks shocked, except like Xandra. She just glares at you as if you've known the whole time, and you never told us until now.
Um, I was. This is the part that must remain between us. But my patron, I can't pronounce his name still. The guy, he's the guy. Um,
Ziha El Sami.
Samid has before we had left the sky capital, he had gifted me a crystal orb to use during this journey, but he had asked me to keep silent about it. But um, with what we have learned, I believe that we need every advantage we can get, and that includes the knowledge of this orb.
An orb? Incredible! You must show it to us. Nava stands up. She's like brimming with excitement all of a sudden.
um, he'll reach into his pack, and then it's wrapped up in like some nice cloth. He'll unwrap it and he'll set it down like in the table for everybody to peruse.
Nava will pick it up and begin like examining it and like turning it around in her hand. Fascinating. How does it work?
I can totally look that up. Give me a second. Basically, like
I'm not
he
sure
kind of
Saladin would really understand exactly how it works. He just knows how to work it.
Okay, so I'm not, as you know, I'm not much of a mage myself, or a wizard, I should say. I just sort of think hard at it, and it shows me stuff. You know, that's probably the best way to describe it.
Question: is it possible for me to do a spellcraft check on it to see if I know how it works?
Sure.
Alrighty, let's see spellcraft. That would be a total of 27.
27. So with that, I'm pretty sure you would understand the mechanics of how a scrying spell works. You can identify the spell, which is scrying in this case. Now, of course, the Pathfinder rule set's a little bit vague on how their magic works in actual fact.
Okay.
But you know how, your character knows how. It's just the writers of the system have never bothered to clue anybody else in.
Alrighty. And she'll just stand there with a little grin on her face, thinking, I know how it works. I know how it works.
Nava kind of like looks excitedly from Saladin and then back at the ball, then back at Saladin and back at the ball. Can I try and scry something with it? Do you mind?
Normally I would say yes, but as my patron Samid had asked me to keep this quiet, I don't know what sort of protections he might have placed on this. Nor do I wish him to know that other people have found the orb. In other circumstances, I would allow you, though.
She's like just peering deeply into it, like completely like not hearing what he's saying. And I'm actually going to attempt to scry something.
Okay, sure. What are you trying to scry?
My grandfather.
Perfect.
Saladin just kind of, he puts his hand on his face. And I was just like, here we go. This will be good.
And Mary grabs her tobacco pipe, packs it with some whiskey cured tobacco, and just starts smoking.
All right, I'm just pulling up that spell again. I'll roll his test here. I know you get a big bonus because you know him so well. So, yeah, so he gets a -5 penalty to his will save.
Oh,
You
less
get
than that.
like a
See
plus.
his...
Yeah, it's -7. So yeah, big time success. He rolled 17, but you have a +7 against him, so big time success. I'm trying to think what he would be doing right at that moment. I think he's probably just like going over his ledger, but you could see like his office, his desk. He's sitting at it. There's papers everywhere. There's measures and bags of money. You know, he's of course opulently dressed in his fine silk robes, and he's going over some accounts there, and maybe just like peeking out under the corner of like a paperweight. You can see that letter that you sent to him when you came into Talicia last. Because you didn't go to see him, but you did send him a letter, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
So maybe you could probably see that, and you could see another letter that's like just underneath it as well. And looking at that, you know, as your concentration moves around the room, the view of the room changes as well. So you can kind of move the camera, if you will, the magical sensor around the room. and you see that in addition to your letter, there's that other letter that's set aside with it. You think that you recognize the handwriting of that other letter. And it's the handwriting of your first mate. It's Reno's handwriting. You instantly become suspicious. Why is your new first mate sending your grandfather a note? And then it occurs to you that Reno might in fact be some kind of spy or agent for your grandfather. That wouldn't be very in keeping with your grandfather and his machinations.
As I kind of view this, like Nava like just breaks out into this huge grin, and then like she looks back at Saladin. I'm sorry, were you saying something?
He's now like face down into the table, just like Jesus Christ. We just talked about this.
As the crystal ball is actually showing the picture, I can imagine everyone is now like coming in and they're like looking at it.
It's
and like everybody wants a turn now to try to scry something.
He just sort of waves his arm weakly, like screw it, go. I'm already fucked.
I hand it over to Xandria.
Xandria has very little imagination. So she just like scries the room that you're already in. So she's like looking at herself from behind. You know, she's like, ooh, magic. You know, she is not a very imaginative girl. Then I can imagine like maybe like Galilahi wants to like see the girl that he left behind in his village. You know, she promised to wait for him and like pulls up the orb, but maybe she's like taking like a bath or something, and he's like, oh, and he's like accidental perversion going on there. He didn't mean to, you know, scry on her in that inopportune moment.
Mm-hmm.
What does Miri scry?
Oh, what would she scry? Well, actually, she would probably scry her little mentor, the shaman that found her
Mm-hmm.
way back when.
What do you think that would look like, Miri? What is the state of your ancient mentor?
Oh, doing what she does best. Brewing potions and communing with spirits and whatnot.
Do you think Nava would have met Miri's mentor at some point?
Oh yeah, with the backstory that I wrote when I first joined, Nava actually stayed with him for a few days before.
Nava's face kind of brightens up as I see our old friend. Oh, I'm so glad she's doing all right. It's been far too long.
Yeah, and even though Mary knows her mentor can't hear her, she's like, and she's still rotten as hell too. and I'm sure her mentor's ears will start ringing, and she'll just look up as if she's staring straight at Mary, like, excuse me.
What's the name of your mentor?
Crap, I forgot. Hold on.
Okay.
I actually forgot. Let's say. Hold on. Let me find it. Aretha?
What about Ashki?
Ooh, Ashki. Yes.
Okay. I've been using my Native American name generator for the Undines. Ashki is the next one in line.
Nice. Okay.
I don't know if we'll ever see Ashki again, but maybe we will. Always good to keep notes.
Oh yeah.
All right, so I'm imagining they're all like having fun with the crystal ball, and maybe Xandra like kind of gets bored of it really quick, and she'll go to Saladin and be like, "How far is the city?"
How far is it?
Yes, we must make our way there to Gianni as soon as possible.
Um,
And I'm thinking it would probably be like a week or two, depending on the winds.
yeah. Yeah. Solid says probably, perhaps a week or two. From what I saw in my vision, it was deep in the Great Desert. I saw no discernible landmarks, but because of my knowledge of astrology, I have a general location of where the Sky City has fallen. Um, I still suggest stopping by Wasif. We could use the extra people if we are to search a city for a single gate room. I don't think that's something we could do in a reasonable amount of time, just as like 20 some people.
Actually, from Zangiev's description of his gate and from the archive description, the gate is actually like enormous. It's like 50 feet tall, 25 feet wide. It's
Okay.
in this magic circle around it. They've got like the gate itself, but then they've got like a magic circle running all the way across the ceiling on both hemispheres and then around the outside. It's like this enormous chamber is required to focus all of the magical power. So that it's almost like inside of a cube of 6 magic circles. Um, it was a big undertaking to craft it. Now that you're right, the more people will certainly be better, but it'll be a big room. It'll be fairly easy to find. It has to be in some kind of palace or temple or something.
Mm-hmm. All right, but yeah, so I'll tell the party, probably a week or two from Wasif, if my astrology holds up, or astronomy, yeah, that's it.
I kind of like Nava kind of grins at Xandria. You think you can last another week or two? I kind of pat her on the back.
She actually like looks like, oh, like there's she looks sad for a minute there. Usually she's very reserved, but she actually, oh my god. another 2 weeks without touching solid ground. So she's not very happy to hear this, but it could be worse.
Nava just smiles and says, "Right then, I'll make you some more sponge tea."
So do you guys set course for Wasif to get some backup, or to the city itself, to Gianni?
I mean,
Let's
like,
head to Wasif, and specifically, I'm very interested in seeing how our research is doing.
Sounds good. Does anybody voice any objections to Nava, or we're going to Wasif?
I say we go to Wasif.
yeah, Wasif sounds good.
All right. And that archmage, his name is Zufar El Popal. I got that in the chat there.
Yeah, the main reason why she wants to go Wasif is she just wants to see their reaction to her flaming sea bird.
Well, I'm sure they've seen a lot of birds like that, but probably not a lot of tame birds like that. Okay. So do you guys want to take like a little 5-minute intermission? Hit the bathroom, grab a drink, stretch your legs, and then we'll come right back for the next part. Sound good?
Yeah,
That
sounds
sounds
great.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna make me some ramen real fast. So.
Excuse me.
kind of ramen do you have there, Lily?
Shrimp.
Yeah, I've been told that you're not really poor until you have a favorite flavor of ramen.
My favorite flavor is either the chili lime or the spicy shrimp.
We don't have that many flavors in my local grocery store. I like the spicy chicken. I'm sure there's probably better flavors out there.
If you ever find it, try the creamy chicken. The creamy chicken's actually pretty good.
Okay. Yeah, I've been buying frozen dumplings or wontons. You just throw those in,
Ooh,
and
so good.
so good. Oh, it is. And they're cheap too. If you get the actual Asian dumplings, they're very cheap.
Oof. And a glass of orange juice? Question mark.
Orange drink.
Ooh, tastes like a screwdriver. I better be careful on that. Not drink too much of that right now. Wait till after the game, preferably.
Yeah, not too much.
Oh yeah.
Find that happy balance.
Oh yeah. Honestly, if I were to get like past that happy balance, Mary would probably just end up yelling Leroy Jenkins and just run into a situation.
Yeah.
Leroy Jenkins. Who's this Leroy Jenkins? Ew. Oh, why do I have to watch weird videos on Facebook? Oh my god, that's gross. They just pulled a freaking leech out of this dude's nose.
Nice.
I'm sharing it.
Hey, better out than in, right?
Oh yeah. Roses are red, violets are blue. I have 5 fingers, the middle one's for you.
Brutal.
Gotta love weird stuff on Facebook, I swear.
I'm back, by the way.
Sweet. You back, Micah?
I guess not.
was not expecting you guys to go to Wasif.
Thinking about it now, though, it kind of makes sense.
Sure.
It is the they aren't supposed to be known for their magic. At the very least, like I said, we could use the extra help in picking up and searching the city, but
So Thane, how's your other campaign going?
it's going pretty good. We are. I don't know if good is quite the right way to put it because we're in the middle of this huge like city-sized battle.
Oh yeah.
Against the Legion of Undead. We're probably gonna die, but it's been fun. I'm playing a sorcerer warlock.
Nice.
Yeah, I managed to convince the DM to give me. Have any of you seen Outlaw Star?
No.
I have.
Nice. I basically have the caster gun from Outlaw Star,
Oh, nice.
which lets
Very.
me. I can craft ammunition for it to cast spells. So right now I can cast. I've got like magic missile shot rounds, guiding bolt rounds because I'm a divine soul. It's been pretty good so far. It saves me spell slots. I can, if I live long enough, I can shoot off about 60 spells in a battle. You know, because I have that many rounds for it. It's expensive to keep it maintained because I got to keep building rounds for it. But other than that, it definitely helps.
Sounds good. I think Micah's back.
Yes, I am in fact back.
Sweet. So yes, our daring heroes are aboard the White Vestige, flying high through the sky over the canyon lands of the Oreads. And slowly, those canyon lands give way to the desert of the Ifrit, to the endless rolling sand dunes. And looking down, you can see the giant sandworms burrowing far beneath you at times. But mainly there's just these dunes that stretch out and seem to stretch on forever. And then eventually, after a week and a half of travel, you can see the city before you, Wasif, the home of the great Archmage. Wasif has this huge tower built near its center, which is where the sky ships can come and dock. So you're coming forward and coming into that berth. So what do you do upon arriving at Wasif? Or are there any scenes you want to run en route?
No.
No, I think we're good. Just like I think I'm good. Just getting to Wasif.
Same.
I'm good too. Sorry, I was catch-upping. I think we're good. At least I'm good.
So what do you do upon...
As we dock, I will send one of my crewmen out to I'll send him out to find out where Zufar al-Papal resides and see if he can request an audience.
All right. So yeah, you're waiting there in that berth. You sent your messenger out. The occasional mage or merchant is coming by. They think you're a merchant ship. They just assume that. It's the only reason sylphs ever come to the city. So they keep showing up and asking what you have to barter, and some of the mages offer their services and journeying to the other lands.
Oh,
But,
that actually, I may take them up on that. We do have medicine and Oriad tools available to us. So I'm talking to these mages, and I'm like, "Oh yes, your services could be useful. What kind of magic can you cast? What kind of magical items do you have with you?"
Well, they do have a variety. The flaming swords are the most popular, most common trinket that they like to trade. It's visually very impressive. The tourists love flaming swords, but of course, for the right price, they have other gear available: potions, flying carpets, crystal balls. All kinds of things like that. The 7 league boots let you leap tall buildings in a single bound. Is there anything in particular Nav is looking for, or are you trying to trade like some bulk commodities to make some cash? What exactly are you doing?
Well, I'm definitely interested in grabbing one of those crystal balls. Like, I was thoroughly impressed by Saladin's display there. I want one. I'd also be interested in maybe hiring some mages, some battle mages to come on board with us and explore the city. Maybe some like mercenaries.
All right, so we're talking big time expense right there. I'll get a sense motive from you on the crystal ball as you're talking to a particular merchant.
Oh God.
Saladin's in the back, like cutting across his neck. Like, don't talk about me. Don't do it.
11.
All right.
I have a wisdom modifier. It's 11.
So you've met a merchant. He's like he's a short, tiny, aged, leathery-looking, red-faced fellow. His name is Shuja El Mustafa. And yes, kind lady, I do not have the crystal ball, but what I do have is just as good. And for a pretty lady like you, amazing. And he like reaches into his robe and he pulls out this mirror. It's a silver mirror on a golden trellis with a handle, very finely wrought hand mirror. He presents that to you. And he says, that you seek in the crystal ball, it has been put into this mirror. Plus, it is a mirror, and you can, make your face pretty and everything for the sailor boys. But he's trying, so he's showing you this magic mirror. You, with your sense motive, you think he's like completely legit. This mirror is on the level. Do you have any kind of spellcraft or?
I have my
Arcana?
object reading ability.
How does
So if
that
I
work
hold
exactly?
if I examine the object for a minute, it's like let's see here. It's like I had successfully examined the item using detect magic and succeeded at a spellcraft check.
All right.
This ability does not reveal whether the item is cursed, unless the occultist class level is equal or greater to the caster level of the item.
I didn't even think of making it curse. That'd be a great idea.
Also, if it has any historical significance, I'm aware of that.
It's definitely not historically significant in this case. But so you can tell if you're using that ability that this does have a scrying effect on it, but it's a very, very, very weak kind of scrying effect, because that will save has to be made for scrying against anything. In this case, the save is extremely easy to make. Instead of like having to roll a 16, they only have to roll like a 5 or higher to resist this one. So it does work, but it doesn't work very often, and it mainly only works on willing, knowledgeable targets and recipients. So I don't know how Nava would interpret that, like with that ability. So you can see that it works, but you could probably also tell it's very, very weak effect. Now, without any kind of knowledge, arcana knowledge, spellcraft, I don't know how she'd interpret that feeling, you know? So I'll leave that up to you. What does she say to Shuja el Mustafa?
So I spend like a gratuitous amount of time just like handling this mirror and like
Oh, yeah.
turning it upside down and looking at it. And eventually I just kind of like frown a bit and say, you know, the craftsmanship here is pretty poor. I would have expected more of a more tighter magical weave in this.
All right, so now he's starting to get the idea that maybe you know a little bit more than he thinks that you knew. So and he says, "You're right. For someone so discerning and discriminating as yourself, it is no good. Let's just take it away. It is pretty, but it's a pretty bauble. What I have, again, no crystal ball. I do not have this. I cannot give what I do not have, or I would. But I have the magic oil." And he takes out this flask of this like blue steel flask. It's all wrought like a cloud. Very pretty little flask. You unscrew lid. It is filled with the magical oil. That is the thing you're buying here. Flask, beautiful, but comes free with the oil. Extra bonus deal. And one drop though of the magic oil onto any solid, still surface of water, and cast the scrying spell, the spell that you want. So he has magic oil that can be used on a flat surface of water, like a scrying spell.
I will, let's see. I wonder if this works on potions as well.
Well, yes, it would, yeah.
Okay. I use my object reading on that as well as I kind of start to examine it.
Yeah, this time he's being straight with you. So it's a limited use item. Eventually, the oil will run out. You know, you could probably use it. Depends on the surface that you're pouring it into. But I'd imagine you could probably use it about 20 times, give or take, before it runs out.
So Nava, like, she's an experienced merchant. She knows to hide her interest, but she is definitely interested in this potion.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just kind of shrug and I hand it back to him. Well, it wasn't what I was looking for. How much do you want for it?
So let's just make some opposed barter tests rather than actual haggling.
Okay. Would I use diplomacy or profession merchant for this, or
whichever of those you prefer, or if you have an appraise or a barter skill, whatever you think would make the most sense.
Ouch.
Okay, I'll use appraise. I got a 18.
All right. So actually, yeah, you.
Oh, excuse me. I got a 16. I'm sorry.
Okay. You still got a really. He's offering you a really excellent deal on this. He is interested in the tools and medicine that you have. I don't know if you're offering him any of those firearms, but he's willing to part with his flask for a really excellent deal, something that wouldn't really deplete your stores of your trade goods very much at all.
And perhaps as a sign of goodwill, would you be willing to throw in that mirror as well? I would, of course, give you a couple extra vials of medicine.
Now make a diplomacy test against him here.
Natural 20.
He will absolutely throw it. In fact, he'll give you the mirror pretty much for free at that point, because he's realizes that you called him on his bullshit, but you're still willing to do business, and the mirror's really not worth that much. So he's willing to throw the mirror in for free.
All right. Well, I give him some of the tool. We trade successfully, and we shake hands, and he gets some of the medicine and some of the tools, and I walk away happy with the vial and the mirror.
Perfect. Yes, and by the time that you're maybe done bartering with Shuja El Mustafa, the envoy from Zufar El Popal has arrived, and he's ready to escort you to go and have a meeting with the Archmage. But as you know, as the messenger arrives, Shuja might stop and look and you know, he kind of hangs around a bit. And as you go to gather your gear and your people, Shuja might go over to you again, Nava, and ask, you have business with the great Archmage, which with the Zufir El Popal. Have I overheard correctly?
Yes, indeed you have. Would you like me to mention you to him?
No. In fact, do not mention my name. I have had dealing with Zufir El Popal before, and Nava, you are a most good person. You strike good bargain with good heart, big smile. I like you. I like you, Nava. And I tell you that you do not want to do business with Zufir Al Popal. He's a bad man.
What makes you say this?
Because I have dealt with him in the past. He's spiteful. He is a cruel man. He is the disease of sadism is in his heart.
Well, that is most troubling to hear. How did he wrong you?
It was, listen, Nava, it is business, right? You understand business. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Today you won. You did a good deal, and I am happy with medicines and tools. But on this other day, Shuja won. He got the better of the Archmage in a deal, a business deal. And Zufar Al Popal, he took it very personally. And he made Shuja regret winning the deal. And this is not something Shuja regrets often. It is my trade, my profession to win, to do good. And he made it turn to ash in my mouth.
I thank you for your warning, my friend, and I kind of like pat him on the shoulder. I will be sure to visit you and do business again. Unfortunately, Zafar has an object that belongs to me. He's been studying it for us.
It's better to give up this object. I tell you that as your friend. Zafar, he has, perhaps I understate, but he has assassins who work for him. He killed my servant, my favorite servant, to spite me because I love that boy. And Zufar, he snuffed him out just to get back at me.
Nava kind of like goes a little pale at that. He
Yeah.
killed your servant? I kind of like glance over at Saladin. I imagine he's kind of like off in the distance maybe, but I'm like, oh shit, what have we gotten ourselves into?
Yeah, like Shuja could tell you didn't really believe him, so he's telling you like, no, seriously, he killed my favorite servant just to fucking get back. Like Shuja's very upset, and he's like, trying to warn you. He does like you, and he really is terrified of Zufar El Popal, obviously.
Thank you for this warning. I need to go discuss this with my my crew.
May the Phoenix watch over you.
And you as well, my friend.
Shuja takes his leave. But of course, he'll be easy to locate in the city if you do need him again.
What about those mages that may have been willing to accompany us?
Again, for the right price, you can certainly get some battle mages hanging out with you.
How many? Like how much are they? What's their lowest price?
Give me another one of those barter or merchant or diplomacy tests there.
I got a unnatural 20.
A natural 20.
Unnatural 20. It was 12, and then I have an 8 for appraise.
Wow.
I'm a merchant. This is where I shine.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm just gonna grab another NPC to plug in here. I don't know why all these NPCs have been male. That's no good. It's because of the way my name generator works. So you've actually met a mercenary captain. It's a female Ifrit. Her name is Nabila El Pasha. She's very quiet, very taciturn, but she does have a few battle mages that she has under her command. She is their captain. She'd be willing to hire out their services for the right cause and for the right price. Now, as you're, telling her about the mission while you're hiring her, and she's asking a lot of questions. She clearly really cares about her troops. She doesn't want them going into a no-win situation. So she's asking a lot of questions. And as you tell her about your quests and your mission and everything, she's very impressed by this. And she's also impressed that you have Saladin in your party. She's heard of Saladin. And you get the feeling that she's maybe not like hero worshiping, but there's certainly a lot of respect there. And she basically agrees to aid your cause because it is a noble and righteous cause for a pittance, a very low price. Again, she'll take probably. She'd be more interested in that medicine, so she'd want to take a pretty goodly portion of your medicine, but certainly for the services she's offering with battle mages, a really excellent price.
What is so I know she has some mages under her in her employ. Is she herself a mage?
Yes, she's a battle mage. She's the captain. She leads her girls into battle.
So would she herself be willing to come with us?
Oh yeah, she won't leave her girls behind. She's going on the mission.
Excellent. Okay. Yeah, I readily agree to the deal.
All right. So let's say you could get 5 battle mages for a quarter of your medicine, or 10 for half of the medicine you have.
Half.
Well, do we have no space for that?
Pardon me?
What was that, Saladin?
Do we have enough space for 10 extra people?
It'll be a little cramped, but yeah, you do have a little cramped, but nothing unusual for the mercenaries. Any soft living civilians might not be very happy, but.
All right, well, as long as we all fit, we're good.
After I unfortunately make the deal with these guys, I will approach Saladin and be like, "Are you okay with this? What have you heard about her, if anything?"
What have I heard about her? I will roll a knowledge local for that.
Roll it.
Oh, that's good. There's a 16 plus 7, so it's 23. Something like that, I think.
All right. So you have a great knowledge of local news, and you certainly remember hearing her name, Nabila El Pasha. She's led her girls several times, mainly on raids against the Oreads, and also one raid against another Ifrit city. And most of the combat the Ifrits engage in are just little raids. There's no big wars. There's no infantry. there's a lot of assassins, and then there's the battle mages who conduct raids. So she's a veteran. She's got secured quite a bit of booty out of the Oread people before. She has a reputation for being a solid tactician, but she really cares about her troopers. She's not sadistic against her enemies. She just wants to do her job and make sure everybody that she's responsible for gets home safe.
Monster Xandra's gonna like this.
No, Sandra is not going to like this at all, because yeah, Nabila has killed quite a few Oreads in those raids, but most, not just Ifrit, but most of the races are racist, right? So Nabila probably would feel bad if she were doing that against other Ifrit. She really doesn't care if she's contracted to kill some Oreads and steal their stuff. Now, that being said, she did one raid against another Ifrit city-state, but there was some like very heated disputes going on there. It was not just a profiteering piracy type situation. It was a punitive raid for wrongdoings committed in the past.
Saladin kind of he nods. I've definitely heard of her. She should be solid, I believe. She's done some stuff in the past I don't necessarily agree with, but in terms of her performance on this quest, we should be good, I believe.
Excellent. I do fear my ship is being quickly overrun with your people.
That looks like it. What are we, 16 now? All told?
Yeah, almost half.
Oh, no, that's funny.
Here comes the Ifrit mutiny. Yeah.
On a more serious note, Saladin, my friend, I've heard some very disturbing rumors about this Zufar.
Such as?
As I'm talking, I see Miri kind of walking by, and I kind of like motion for her.
Yes.
Well, I've heard that he is quite vengeful, quite spiteful, quite dangerous, and he has a multitude of assassins in his employ. A shopkeeper I was speaking to said that he killed his servant, a mere child, over a trade dispute.
I believe I made a knowledge check on Zafir before. Was that would I have known this?
Well, Zufar has a lot of really good publicity. Like I said, he's refuted to be the greatest living mage. That being said, yes, you have heard that he's not the nicest guy to get along with, and you really don't want to cross him at all for any reason. So this would be in line with what you've heard, but the main press about Zufar is, oh, he's so powerful and he's so great, and the concept, the freak concept of a great man or a hero is more like a powerful man rather than a morally strong, righteous person.
Mm-hmm.
So he's greatly admired in Ifrit society, but that doesn't mean he's a nice guy.
Saladin nods again. In agreement because he's heard some things. While I do not agree with his morals, we do need his help. He is quite well known as one of the greatest mages of our time. As long as we get our orb and we get out, we shouldn't have any issues. But I would not be opposed to bringing in some help when we go to see him. Should things turn sour?
Should I come up with one of my plans?
Oh God, no.
I worked last time, so I mean, I'm kind of okay with this.
I just think we should probably stay on this guy's good side if he
I
is as
mean,
truly as dangerous and as powerful as he seems.
I believe that too, but I also believe in preparing for the worst. And if for some reason we need to take this guy out or we need to escape, I think we would definitely appreciate the extra help.
Do you think Nabila would be willing to prep her mercenaries to come rescue us if we didn't come back within a allotted amount of time?
You can ask her, but probably nobody wants to mess around with Zufar. He's like the shit, and it would be like a suicide mission to try to attack his tower. So Nabila would not agree to that.
Shame.
Dang, well, I guess we're on our own. Let's do this.
All right. Hopefully we haven't kept him waiting too long.
Nabila might come with you into the tower as an honor guard.
What about the Janissaries? I figure two of them as well as an honor guard at least isn't too suspicious.
No, it wouldn't be suspicious at all. I mean, he's a very auspicious person, so bringing a big entourage would be very in keeping. You know, you're trying to show off. Look at all the backup I have. Look how I can afford to have all this hired help, and the more people you bring with you, the richer you look.
I'll bring maybe I'll bring 4 then. I'll bring 4 the Janissaries as an honor guard.
I'm going to bring all our mages.
Okay.
I'm thinking maybe we should bring a gift of some sort. Perhaps those sandals I bartered for.
Can I roll a knowledge local? What kind of gift would be interesting? I'm assuming something magical.
Yeah, I mean, for someone as powerful as Zufar, you know, he's the man who has everything. It would more just be like a show of respect. He really doesn't need anything. He can manufacture or buy anything he needs, but it would be a show of respect to give him something. You know, that would be looked upon well.
When we were in the city, I got those sandals of wall climbing.
Yeah. And actually, you guys also still, I believe, have some Shadowlands like boots and cloaks and Zangiev's sword, which nobody gave back to Zangiev.
Oh, I'm keeping that. I am holding very closely onto it.
Yeah. So those things are maybe the only things that Zufar Alpapal wouldn't be able to get by himself because they're from another dimension. So they would possibly be worth more than even a nice magical item. Even though the boots and cloaks are not actually magical, although they do confer a big stealth bonus, but it's not really.
I mentioned this idea to our party, and I kind of look at Saladin. Do you think we can part with these cloaks?
Didn't we take a bunch of sets, or did we just take enough for the party?
You only captured the 2 fetchlings. All the other ones use their orbs, their gems, to escape back to the plane of shadows with their gear. So you have 2 sets of boots and two cloaks that you took from Zangi.
I think it would be our best choice. He can pretty much acquire anyone that he needs, but at least for now, until he's figured out the orb, these items are unique to this world, despite their more mundane nature.
So we can.
I think just for what I don't remember what the word I'm looking for is. You know, it's expected of us to bring him something, but perhaps something that's actually unique would be better.
Indeed, we should set a good first impression, especially if we intend to do business with this man again. And we might need his services.
Yeah.
At a later date.
Oh, Saladin.
Yes.
Buddy, old pal. Have you heard any stories about this? Crap, what was his name? Zafir.
Zafar. Yeah.
Yeah. Of any weaknesses or anything he might be scared of?
Have I?
Yes.
What did you get on that knowledge test?
I'll roll another one, I guess. Ooh, that's pretty good. That was 15 plus what are we looking at here? Plus 7, so 22. Yeah, 22. Yeah.
So there are a lot of almost like tall tales about Zufar. He's tangled with phoenixes and sandworms and all kinds of monsters and bandits and evil apprentices that turned against him. But one story that occurs to you is that while he was pluming a ancient ruin, he was attacked. Him and his apprentice at the time were attacked by a swarm of scarab beetles, and the scarabs ate his apprentice alive.
Damn.
And they burrowed into Zufar's body, and only by using his magic was he able to survive long enough to get to an acclaimed healer. The healer managed to get rid of the scarabs that were eating him from the inside out. But allegedly, then Zufir is afraid of scarab beetle because they once burrowed into his body and almost killed him, and he watched his apprentice get eaten alive by them.
That's good.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'll pass that knowledge along to Miri. Scarab beetles crawling out of skin. Creepy for anybody, but
yeah, I'll
this guy.
Yeah, hearing this, she just starts going.
Miri, please, we may need to use him. We may need this man's help.
Yeah,
if push comes to shove, my dear. If push comes to shove.
All right. I'll bundle up one of the sets of boots and cloaks from the Shadowlands, and I'll assemble our honor guard. Not risking any of my slice here, so it's just an Ifrit exclusive honor guard.
It's good to know.
Are you bringing Zangief with you as well?
I'm concerned that if we bring one of the prisoners with us, the Zafar may want to keep them.
That's a legit concern.
So, no, both the prisoners are gonna stay on the ship.
Right. Zangief is not very happy about that, but he doesn't complain too much because at least he's not clasped in irons anymore.
If we are leaving him here, we should bring all of our stuff, especially the other orb.
Okay, he doesn't even know you have that orb.
Oh, he doesn't? Okay.
I have it. Also, I have it hidden in my bedroom. So, unless he's really thoroughly digging through stuff in my bedroom, then he shouldn't find it.
And
I will.
And there are still sailors, and if he violated your bedroom, they would pretty quickly notice and probably put the boots to him.
I actually do. Kind of off to the side, I assign a couple of my sailors to just watch him discreetly and keep note of his activities about the ship without directly approaching him or anything.
Yeah.
All right, and with that, I can't think of anything else we need to do. So unless you guys can think of something, we'll be off.
Yeah, I'll just gather all my things as necessary, and then we're good to go as far as I'm concerned.
Does Zandria and Golly want to come with us?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay. So we head off.
Oh, well, before we head off, I'll repeat for their sake everything we know about Zephyr and the current situation.
Xandra looks really creeped out hearing about those scarab beetles. Like, she didn't know she was afraid of scarab beetles until this moment. but now she's like developed a new phobia just hearing about it. Yes, and then you head off through the great city of Wasif. It's just a beautiful, opulent city. It's been created largely with magic.
Ooh.
There are all these obelisks, pillars, and towers, and onion domes, and minarets. A lot of it is made out of metal, like bronze and brass, copper, maybe a little bit of gold leaf, and also a lot of marble. It truly it is said that that there are no peasants in the land of the Ifrit. That all Ifrit are noble and live as the nobles live. And looking at the city, you almost believe it. I mean, there's just so much wealth and so much magic, and of course, all the people, walking by, they have their silk robes and jewelry, their turbans, and they're looking at you guys like, what the heck? Got a couple Undines and an Oread. So everywhere you go, you're always, this very unusual sight. So even in the City of Wonders here, you're attracting a lot of attention. But you do eventually.
Hello, everyone. Hi.
And you do eventually, yes, come to the Tower of Zufar El Papal. His major domo sees you inside, and soon you come through to this large audience chamber. He has kind of like a throne set up on the far side. There's marble pillars and a beautiful mosaic of a phoenix on the floor. Of course, the Ifrit are really big on the phoenix and also the dragon. The phoenix is good and the dragon is bad. But they're both the embodiments of flame. So you guys are approaching now. Remember, Saladin, when you saw Zufar before, you were outside of the magic circle, so he didn't know you were eavesdropping on that conversation. So
Yeah.
he doesn't know that you know anything of that meeting with the Sultan. But he does stand and raise his arm up to you. I give you greetings. Welcome into my house. I understand that you come from the Council of Four Elements, that you are the fellowship of the Four Elements. He nods his head.
Indeed we are, Archmage. And we have brought you an offering, a gift. And I will present the cloak and boots to him. Attire from a distant plane. Never before seen in our realm.
He nods his head at the mention of the gift. He's used to getting gifts. But as he sees, what it is, his eyes go a little wide. Again, he's an old man. He's thin and gaunt and quite tall. Got this long orange beard. But he comes forward and he takes up the cloak and the silky, shimmering blackness of it. He nods, and you think that he's quite impressed. Make a sense motive to see how impressed he actually is.
Oh, damn! Got an 18.
Nice.
13 on my side. It's not too great, but
21.
All right. So Nava and Mira, you actually think that he's a bit underwhelmed. But he's acting like he's impressed. So this might make you very suspicious. The only way he could be familiar with this, is if he has some contact with the plane of shadow, or somehow if he knows how to make something from another universe. It's very confusing to you. But he's putting on a big show like, oh, I've never seen anything like this before. Yet both of you think that he's not as impressed as he's letting on. And that's very suspicious to you.
Yeah, Miri will look over at Nava.
Every time you talk now,
Just shake his
Miri,
head.
I'm just going to be expecting you to say, I released the scarabs, and just throw scarabs. Sorry, go ahead. Miri.
Yeah, Miri will look at Nava and just shake her head, really slightly.
So I have no clue of this, right?
No.
I didn't get enough.
You
Nava
think
kind
he's
of
very
like,
impressed.
Nava kind of like turns to Saladin and Marine, kind of gives them a worried look before kind of like looking back.
This is truly a rich gift. I thank you from the depths of my heart. And he'll like take the cloak and the boots and hand it off to some servants who whisk it away.
We understand that you've been examining the orb, the shadow orb that was sent to you. We'd like to inquire as to what you've discovered, and perhaps avail of ourselves of your research.
His eyebrows raise in surprise that you know about this. I see that that Sultan Naziha has been most loose with his tongue.
Perhaps,
I think quietly in the background.
But
I think the
you
Sultan is interested in the good of our cause. The shadow creatures are a threat to all our nations. And the Sultan, he understands this. He knows this.
Yes, well, I have learned certain things from studying this artifact. But I do not know why I should reveal such to you.
At least the scouts.
Well, actually,
Don't do that.
Mary reaches into her pocket and slips on her little ring of mind speak, and she's going to use it on what's his name, Zafir,
Okay.
and make it sounds like he's hearing the sound of scarab beetle wings.
Brutal. So exactly how does mind speak power work?
Pretty much it just lets her either say something or use her mind to communicate with another person, pretty much like telepathy.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, instead of speaking, she's going to try and make him hear scarab beetle wings. It'll be
Okay. So I'm going to give him a test to see if he recognizes this as telepathy and a spell, or if he actually thinks there are scarabs flying somewhere nearby.
Okay.
I believe in you, Mary.
It'll be a DC of 15.
All right. Make a sense motive test.
Come on, be good. Crap, 9.
All right. So you think that he thinks there are scarabs flying somewhere nearby. He's starting to like look around. He's getting a little skittish. You think everything is working great. You have fooled the Archmage.
Okay.
If he's looking around like kind of nervously, can I also sense motive? Like, I guess like what like is he genuinely freaked out or is he just playing a game?
Sure. Roll it.
Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. That's it's like a 10. Wonderful.
Right.
I don't know anything.
What about you, Nava?
Was I aware that Miri, excuse me, slipped on that ring? I feel like I wouldn't have noticed that because I was mid conversation with him.
Yeah.
Well, I was just
Yeah.
trying to figure out why he was freaking out like he was. You know, because he suddenly started looking around, kind of freaked out like so.
Yeah,
And-
the Archmage is acting a little bit odd now. He's just looking around. He's glancing around. He's looking a little skittish. So you can make a test, Nava, to see if you can determine why, or if he is in fact pretending to be skittish.
You're not going to believe this, but it's a unnatural 20, 18 plus 2.
All right. So you think that he's putting on some kind of act, but you don't know why, because you don't know that Miri is trying to use telepathy against him.
I start kind of like looking around with him, slightly worried, kind of expecting him to like summon ghosts out of the walls
Yeah.
or some shit. Zufar, is something the matter?
Oh, yes, everything is fine. I'm just wondering, as I said, why should I reveal my research to you? I know you have been sent by the Council of the Four Elements, but
Wait, quick question. Did the Sultan mention that I was the one who gave it to him? Because then it wouldn't be that weird that we know that he has it, at the very least. Because I can't remember, but I think he did. I want to say.
I don't think he mentioned you by name. No. I mean, it wouldn't be hard for the Archmage to just connect the dots and figure it probably was you, but he doesn't know it for an absolute fact. I don't think the Sultan mentioned your name in specific.
Okay. I'll step forward. Like I'll look around a little bit too. I was like, "What the hell is he looking at?" But
and Mary's just there grinning.
Archmage Zephyr. My name is Saladin Amari. Actually, no. Quick. What was the last thing that he said? Remind me.
He said he doesn't know why he should tell you anything about his research.
Let me think for a second. Yes, I'll step forward. I'll look around. Archmage Zephyr. My name is Saladin Amari. I was the one who procured the orb for you to research. And seeing as how we could have a potential invasion on our hands, I believe it is in the best interest of everybody that you would share your research.
Saladin, it is a shame that you have been placed on the Fellowship instead of myself. But have no fear, I will solve this problem. And you may rest your cause. Leave it in my hands. I have dealt with threats to the world before. So he's just being very dismissive of you guys, as if you're just, his understudies, and he's just gonna go save the world all by himself.
I'll respond with that is not the Sultan's wishes. However, as you know, he placed me on this quest because one such esteemed and well, um, yeah, I can't think of another word for old. I'm just gonna use old. I do have that -1 charisma, so
There you go.
you know.
Listen here, old man.
One such as esteemed and as of advanced in age as yourself.
Venerable, wise.
Nah. It's too late. I didn't think of it then. I'm gonna go
Decrepit.
but yeah, so yeah, no, that's not the soul's wishes. Once it's esteemed and as of an advanced age such as yourself.
You're old.
Yeah, basically. Should but was not chosen by the council and the Sultan himself for this task. You should leave it. You should leave it with the people that the council has chosen.
And the Archmage, he looks annoyed at this. And he says, Naziha is not my sultan. And the council was unwise to call upon him. Naziha fears magic. That is why he has put you. And he like glances at your gun dismissively. In this place of honor and prestige, this place that you do not deserve.
I kind of like shift and like my hand kind of draws closer to my gun. You know, because that's he's speaking against my honor, and that
He's
is
talking smack.
he's talking smack, and that's no bueno.
Nava just kind of, at this point, she shrugs and says, I'm sure whatever research you've found is worthless without what we've discovered. You do not know where the sacred gate city is, like we do. And if you do not assist us, we shall not assist you.
All right, make a diplomacy test or other relevant test.
Oh my god. 14.
She does have a good point.
Yeah, he's seems to be listening a little bit. You know, he's like you can tell he doesn't know where the city is. That as soon as he hears that you do, it kind of piques his interest. But he still thinks you guys are just like blundering novices. So he's kind of inclined to just go and find the city himself without even bothering to ask for your help. But you do have a little bit of his ear at this point.
And Mary pipes up, "You don't want to anger your god now, do you?"
He just looks at you like he's confused.
Did you forget about the vision of your god you had? The one you nearly wet yourself over?
Child, you should watch your tongue when you are in my house.
She just yawns and starts smoking her tobacco pipe.
She empties the pipe on his fucking carpet.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Well, I think I said he had a mosaic on the floor, not a carpet, but still, right on the mosaic.
Yeah, and she quickly looks over at Saladin and quickly uses her little ring of mind speak and just says one word: scarabs. And before Angie quickly adds, sneeze if yes.
Give me 1 sec. I'm gonna roll percentile. I'm not sure what I want to do. I'm gonna leave this up to chance.
Okay.
Alrighty.
RNG is gonna decide our fate right now.
God.
So over. Nope. I rolled a 49. I almost made it to say yes. Kind of want to say yes now. But I'll just I'll shake my head no very slightly. I will not sneeze. I don't accidentally sneeze.
I want to see Saladin just like he doesn't sneeze, but he coughs. He's like,
No. God, I want to still be insulting, but we kind of need his help. I will say.
I actually have something I want to say.
Come on, just one scare beetle.
I'll mention the fact that unless you have access to the Oriad archives, you won't ever find it in your whatever time you have left.
are you just implying he'll die of old age before the quest is ended?
I mean, look at the trouble we went through, and we kind of just got really lucky, like super lucky that we made it.
So, Zufar will respond. So that is how you found the location of the city. You turned to the rock people, and he glares over at Xandra. You could tell that she's like getting pissed off at this point, you know. But she doesn't say anything yet.
The point is, Zufar, we know where the city is. You do not. And if you are not willing to help us, well, we'll loot the city before you get there. It's as simple as that. And all those artifacts will go to the council, not to you.
He does look a little bit concerned at that. Make another diplomacy test. It's like everyone else of the party is insulting him and giving you penalties. And you're trying to win the guy over.
Oh my god, 25.
There we
Nice.
go.
All right, so he does nod his head a little bit. And he says, you do have a certain streak of ruthlessness, little sylph. Perhaps a joint venture could be possible. Although I usually keep a better company. And he looks at Xandra again when he says that. And you can tell she is just like boiling, you know. What's your reaction to that? So he said he would maybe team up with you, but then he like insulted Xandra again. So what's your reaction?
I am the only company you need to share this information with. It can be kept strictly confidential.
I feel like insulting him again.
Okay. Okay, I need to run my percentile.
At the very least, like I'll like step beside her, like as a show of support. I want to say something. I can't freaking think of something good. I got like the tip of something going in my head, but I can't formulate it. Then fuck it, let's just keep going. It's there, but I'm not gonna figure it out in time. I'm sure I'll think of it like in the middle of the night.
Yeah. Miri, what were you rolling for there?
Pretty much, she's gonna ask Zufir if he's any good at dream interpretation. It's one thing she's not good at. Oh, trust me.
So he's like trying to talk to Nava, and then you just interject with dream interpretation.
Yes.
He looks over again.
At this point, Nava's actually going to turn around and just like glare at Miri because like I'm so close to hooking this guy.
So that like Nava is looking at Miri like, what are you doing? And Zufir is looking at her like, what is wrong with you? And I want Miri to just keep talking and just be like, you know,
Yeah.
well, you see, Zufar, I had a dream, and then just start describing.
Over the past fortnight, I've been having the same dream nightly. I turned into this strange-looking bug. I went through many books, but I found it. It's called a scarab. What do you think it could mean? Me transforming into one.
And now he's mad. He's like gritting his teeth, right? And he just says, all of you be gone from my house. You have come here as if you are my equal, but none of you are.
Yeah, we're better.
That we are. And
Zufar, please be reasonable. The undying, they do not, they're out of their mind on mushrooms and swamp fungus. They do not know what they speak.
And she reaches into a little pouch and takes out some herbs.
Oh, scarab beetle. Okay.
Well, she puts her tobacco pipe away, and then pulls out another pipe in the shape of a scarab, and she packs it in with some good old herb and starts smoking it, and offers to smoke with him.
All right. So he looks supremely insulted. He's asked you to leave. He's like waving you away. You know, he's all done with you guys. Now make sense motive tests, though, everyone.
Finally, a good freaking roll. 21.
Yeah, and this is like the one that you barely even need to roll for, anyways.
Total of 14.
All right, so you all believe that he's actually so insulted that he is definitely going to seek revenge on you in the future. He doesn't want to just kill you in his own like audience chamber, but you're all convinced he is going to seek revenge on you at some point. So he's told you to leave, but you're sure that he's going to come after you later. So what do you guys do?
Mary will just turn around and slowly walk out with a grin as she just reaches around her neck and just starts playing with her necklace and grinning.
What about Nava and Saladin?
I kind of motion for Saladin to start like heading out, and then I'm gonna kind of hang behind and like continue trying to kind of like talk to him a bit.
I feel like
he's just done. He's just being dismissive. He says, "Go, be gone from my house."
Listen, I apologize for their rudeness. It has been a long journey, but there's no reason to punish the Slilfs for the Undines and the Ifrit's foolishness.
What were you saying, Saladin?
I'll walk out. I may or may not have given a rude gesture as I turned around.
Nice. So yeah, but no, Nava, he's totally done. He's insulted in his own house. He's already an arrogant old prick, and he's made up his mind. So he's just completely dismissive of you. If you keep arguing with him, he'll start to be rude. You know. So do you keep arguing, or do you just leave?
I keep arguing.
All right. So yeah, now he's starting to get rude with you now, you know. And he's saying the company of sylphs is no better than that of any race. In fact, you're perhaps the worst, as you flit like gypsies and beggars from corpse to corpse, picking at our bones. And I have no time for such vultures to come here and insult me, where I am lord and master of this whole city. And he's just ranting, and he's being racist as balls against the Sylph people.
Those vultures and beggars will loot that city before you do. You realize that you are missing out on a grand opportunity.
We shall see what the future holds. I guarantee I have a better idea than you.
We
Very
should
well.
go home with this guy right now.
Good day to you, Zufar. I give him a slight bow and I leave.
All right.
Shall I, Saladin? I'm still within range.
Do it.
Massive swarm of scarab beetles.
You're conjuring illusion of scarab beetles now?
Yeah.
Brutal. Okay, well, roll initiative if that is actually what you're doing.
Oh God.
Ah, crap. Okay, hold on. Okay. And now she's not going to do it. She's like, we'll wait. We'll wait.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
so
as you guys are leaving, Nabila, who you brought with you, is like, she's gone from like dark red to like light red. She's like pink. She's like, she looks like you've just murdered her. And she looks at you, Nava, and says, I cannot accept this contract any longer.
Be not afraid, young lady. Nothing will happen
Look,
to you.
Nabala, please. We've already made a deal. To back out now would be discourteous.
It will bring great shame upon your family.
My deal was to go with you into the desert, into the ruins, not into this viper's nest, which is far more dangerous.
And the ruins are where we are going right this moment. We shall be underway. We are leaving right now. Zufar may have his issues with us, but I assure you those issues are with us and us alone. No, not you, not your company.
Nava, no one will be safe on your ship until Zufar has enacted his vengeance. I cannot take my people on board. He will find you. You do not know who he is.
He doesn't even know the location of where we're going. There's no way he could find out.
Maybe the scrying spell you can.
Not helping.
So Nabila is like utterly terrified now. She thinks he might just kill her anyway because she was in the same room as you guys. Like, even if she leaves you guys, she still could be in trouble. But she definitely does not want to go with you anymore at all.
We can sweeten the deal. Let's renegotiate. Obviously, the contract, the danger has increased, and with it, the value to you and your company has increased.
I told you I would not commit my girls into an unwinnable situation, and that is what this has become.
It's only unwinnable if you think it's unwinnable.
And I do. And I wish you the best of luck, but I wash my hands of your party.
Very well. I expect the medicines to be returned.
And they shall be. And she bows and like power walks away at full speed. Like she's like, you guys have a bomb strapped to your back. And she wants to be nowhere near it.
I turn and I'm gonna just glare at Miri and Saladin. What the fuck?
I can see Xandra, and she's just like, we should have attacked him.
Paladin
Oh, I almost had him. He was interested.
He was a dick.
Xandra nods.
He is what he eats.
Yes, okay, he was a bit crass and a bit rude, but
I shake my head at
you
it.
said it yourself, Saladin. We needed him. How are we going to get the information from him now?
Murder hobo. Let's do it. We have like what? 20-something guys between all of us. We could take him.
That's not how Pathfinder works, unfortunately.
Well, we still have the other orb at least.
Do you are you actually suggesting we break into his fortress? I actually will turn around and I'll start like appraising it.
It's a big brass tower. It has smooth walls. There are some windows. It has onion domes on the tops. But it's pretty much unclimbable because it's so smooth. Although you have the magic slippers, actually.
We do, yeah.
Yeah. The door is enormous. It's like 20-foot tall bronze double doors. That is the front door. It appears to be the only way in and out. There probably are other entrances. But it looks very difficult to assail.
Lilith, do you have any ability, or not Lilith, Miri, do you have any abilities that could make you fly or teleport?
Let's see. She starts scratching her invisible flaming beard. Let's see.
Sorry about your mages, Micah.
God damn it.
Oh. I do not. Oh, holy! I just realized. I forgot. I have a casting of Summon Swarm.
Sure.
Yeah, that was Mary. She's like, oh yeah, I can cast that one time today. I could summon a large swarm of scarab beetles.
Well, what I was thinking about was a stealthy infiltration. I do have these sandals that would allow me to scale the walls, or allow one of us to scale the walls. Perhaps we could get into an office, or...
I have something that could help.
Yeah?
Obscuring mist.
I can see the usefulness of that. It's just if we tried to infiltrate the tower, how would we all get up to one of the higher windows? What would it take?
One of us could take a rope using your slippers. I could
Indeed.
easily haul you up.
Indeed, you could probably haul all of us up, Xandra. Such is your strength.
Oh, I don't know about that. Actually, didn't you guys have a potion of invisibility from the first session as well?
Yeah, we do.
That could help.
Well, it's only
Um,
good
I mean,
for
you're in a
us.
city of you're in a city of mages, and you do have trade goods, so you can always just buy gear.
Yeah, I pull out a bowl and I'm gonna cast Create Water. How does scrying work exactly? Like, can it be like
Well, he go on.
can it be like a specific thing? Like, could I scry for like the information that we're seeking? Where is it located inside his?
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be a different penalty for that. Let me just pull up the scrying table again here.
I quickly kind of pull my allies into a nearby alley, and I'll pull out a bowl, and I'll this brass bowl that I have with me, and I'll cast Create Water, and this like miniature cloud like appears, and it like rains into the bowl, filling it with water.
Here's a link to the spell in the SRD. But basically, the default is if you have some knowledge of the subject you're scrying. If you're familiar, you get a bonus. If you're unfamiliar, you get a penalty. If you have like no knowledge of what you're looking for, which would probably be this case, then it's like a minus 10, it looks like. So
Could I
it would be,
scry for the actual black pearl that we gave to him?
yes, because you actually are basically familiar with that, so that would be a +5.
So I'll scry for that. Actually, I'll pop the cork on the potion of scrying. I'll drop in there in the water.
All right. So big time success. So yeah, looking into this bowl, you can see the bubbling mist come up from the bottom of the bowl. It materializes into a picture, and so you see what's like his summoning room essentially. It's like a room with a desk. It's all made out of brass. The floor, the walls, everything. It's a circular room. There's a magic circle drawn on the ground in ash, which is what the Ifrit generally draw their circles in. There's a desk outside of the circle, and that's where the orb is sitting on. See, and you can see there's there are two other orbs that look very similar to this one on the desk next to it. And there's also like a stack of arrows and a dagger. Does anyone have any kind of spellcraft or knowledge arcana? Or
I have knowledge
that could help
arcana.
I have
Okay, so
spellcraft.
make some tests to identify the other orbs and the arrows and dagger. You can make one test or 3 tests, whatever you want.
I got a 24.
All right.
Ooh, not 20 finally.
All right. So
mine's
looking at it.
32.
Excellent. So obviously there will be some difficulty scrying. You're not there firsthand, so it's a minor penalty, but you both rolled so high it doesn't matter. And you believe those other orbs are Zufar creating duplicates of the original. So he may have learned his spell, because remember, it's been like 3 weeks since you handed the orb over to Sultan Naziha. So it appears in that time he may have learned how to duplicate that. And looking at those arrows and that dagger, you think they all probably have some kind of similar planar magic put on them. So it's hard to tell, again, through the scrying without examining them firsthand. But you think that he's learned at least some degree of planar magic, and he's creating implements to assist him in perhaps combating the fetchlings by himself. And that magic circle that he's drawn may in fact be some kind of summoning or gate or teleportation circle. Again, you don't actually know what you're looking for, but it seems to match some of the runes, some of the descriptions that you saw in the archive of the Oreads. So you think he's learning or has learned some kind of planar magic. That also might explain why he wasn't so surprised by those cloak and boots. Maybe he's already gone through or pulled someone else through to or from the plane of shadow. Now that's speculation. It may not be true, but it may be true.
Is the scrying clear enough that we could record the magic circle?
Yeah, absolutely.
You said there's 3 orbs, and then a dagger and arrow, possibly planar magic involved with each of those.
So there's a bunch of arrows. There's maybe 5 or 10 arrows, in fact.
Sounds like we've got some thieving to do.
Definitely. We need those orbs. We need to figure out how he's making them.
At the very least, I think we need to take down the magic circle, and I'll start tracing it out on paper so that we have it.
Sounds good.
Right. If we're going to do this, we're going to need to do it quickly, perhaps even tonight. We have no idea when he's going to strike against us.
This is true.
What I suggest is I will give Xandra my potion of invisibility, and I will give her my sandals of wall climbing. She'll go up, break in through one of the windows, hopefully as quietly as possible, and then lower a rope down for the rest of us.
Xandra is kind of shaking her head, and she's like, "We are not thieves. We and the Archmage, do we not share an enemy? Should we not focus against the fetchlings and not against each other?"
Xandra, he's in our way. He has information that we need. He has magic items. How are we to enter the realm of shadows if we cannot get those orbs?
Also,
how are we to rescue the missing townspeople without that knowledge? Tell me, Xandra.
She doesn't have an answer for that. She kind of nods, like, that makes sense to her. So she seems willing to go along with your plan then, if that's it.
Saladin's going to chime in, and it's like, I'm in it for it too, but that guy is a dick. Let's take his shit.
Nava kind of hesitates for a moment, and then she kind of looks at Saladin and says, Saladin, I need you to understand something here. If we do this, you will forever have crosshairs on the back of your head. This man... Are you prepared for that? The rest of us can go back to our cities and be relatively safe.
In exchange for the safety of the realm, it is I will handle it as needed. I have my own resources as well.
Very well. Before we do this, I think it would be a good idea to spend the rest of our trade goods on potions of magic resistance as well as potions of invisibility.
Sounds good.
All right.
How big or small do we want to make this party that's going to go up there? Smaller is better, but if we are caught, we could use the extra firepower against this guy.
And Mary pipes up. She's like, I have another suggestion.
Xandra looks like she's gonna throw up every time you say that.
Nava just kind of crosses her arms and says, "No, I don't want to hear it." And then, like, a moment goes by, and then she's like, "Fine, fine."
Alrighty. Well, I can summon a certain little creature that has the ability to cast Dimension Door.
That could be a way out at the very least. What's the range on it?
The range of that specific spell
It depends on the level of the caster, I think.
400 feet plus 40 feet per level.
Mm-hmm.
That's more than enough, then. Leaving at level 1 or whatever the base level is.
Yeah, let's see what it says on here.
Yeah, 400 feet is quite good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that for one person, or is that just as long as it's cast, people can pass through it?
I'm reading on that right now. Let's see.
It's one person
It
generally.
says target you and touched objects or other touch-willing creatures. So if you're
good.
willing, then yes, it will work on you.
Cool. So that's our escape plan, unless you can cast that twice.
It's actually hold on. Check
Or whatever summoning can cast that twice.
It's actually my spirit ability, one of my spirit magic spells, to summon the creature, and the creature can use the dimension.
Is that a once per day type thing?
Yes, it is. Sadly. Oh crap! Never mind. She's scratching her chin again, trying to make sure she has all the information correct. She's like, crap. Never mind. We're all too heavy.
What?
Kill him, I say. Kill him.
Miri, you're a bloody cock tease.
That's not the worst thing I've been called.
I think we should bring Zangief with us.
Mm-hmm.
He might be able to help us identify the runes and the gate.
Just imagining as soon as he gets his hand on one of the orbs, he just smashes it and disappears.
That's a good point, actually. Well, no, he said he wanted to help us. I'm sure he'll stick around.
Yeah, Nava believes that, yes.
Saladin face palms again. He knows the truth. He would ditch us in a heartbeat.
Well, not a heartbeat, but pretty quick, yeah.
Maybe 2.
Maybe 2. 2. There you go. Okay, well, I think that's probably a pretty good place to leave off session anyways. I was going to end a little early anyways. So why don't we communicate in the chat and Facebook and such, get some plans laid, look at some magic items that you guys might want to purchase. And then we will have some time to actually plan the caper out. Does that sound good?
Oh yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Out of curiosity, how did you plan for this to go this way, or is this like completely?
Oh no, this is completely. I thought you guys would go to the ruined city. I had a whole dungeon crawl.
Oh,
fine.
I love how every time you have a dungeon planned out, like at the Oriad Archive, you just like find some way to circumnavigate it.
Fine by me. I like this kind of stuff more than dungeon crawling anyways, personally.
I hope we murder hope of this guy. He's such a dick.
Well, at this point, you you probably should have just rushed him and tried to kill him. Like, he will come after you now, and he's a bad dude to give some time to plan, you know. But we'll see what happens.
Well, if we're pulling off a Nightkeeper, he might be asleep, and we can just fucking coup de grace him.
I mean,
Well,
he is an
he lives-
archmage. Like, it's not going to be that easy, I would hope.
He lives in like a land of intrigue, and he's used to fighting wars of assassins. So this is like, you know, his forte right here.
Yeah, but we have plot armor, at least a little bit.
Yeah, I ain't gonna have a lot. Not a lot of plot armor going on here, but that being said, when are we good to have next session? Is this Thursday okay, or?
I work this Thursday unless I can find
Mhm.
somebody to work for me.
So when are you free, or do you want to do it in the chat and we'll figure it out? I can game pretty much any night.
I close Thursday. So we close at hold on, I have my schedule right here.
I remember.
I'm good any night.
All right, let's see. Thursday. I get off at 11 p.m. Central, so it'll be like midnight your time, I believe.
Mm-hmm. That's right when I start work.
Yeah. I have
like
tomorrow
every day, or
off.
when tomorrow works for me. What
Tomorrow
about,
works for
you
me,
guys?
actually.
What about you, Thane?
I don't know if I can do 2 nights in a row of this, but
Can't put up with us, eh?
I'm tired, man. I do a bit of manual labor, so it's just. But if everybody's good with Tuesday, I'll try to be there. Maybe slightly shorter session, possibly.
Okay.
We can somewhat manage it. I mean, I know that's kind of up in the air depending on how well we do, you know. But
Is that enough time for you, David, to plan stuff out?
Oh yeah, I can game every day. I don't care. That's fine.
Okay, cool.
There's not a lot of planning going on here, man.
Okay. I mean, that's what I thought,
That's-
but like, especially with improv games, I know for myself, I like to have a lot of time to just think stuff over. But
No, I'm pretty good. I know what we're doing and where we're going, and it's just the little details, right?
mhm.
But yeah, I'm excited to see what happens with Zufir here. That's why I took that intermission earlier, because I had to write his character. But that's cool. You know, anytime I need to prep, I can take a 5-minute intermission. That's usually all I need anyway.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so hopefully tomorrow then.
All right.
Okay.
I will talk to you all very soon then.
All right. Take care, guys.
All right, later.
Bye.
Have a good night.